Hi, this is Rafa from the Manitoban. In case if you guys are wondering why this video is on Zoom, that's because we have a very special guest here with us today, all the way from Ottawa. She is the news editor of the Fulcrum, the University of Ottawa's student newspaper. Yeah. So Isabel, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself. Maybe share a bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. So pleasure to meet you guys. My name is Isabel. This is my first year that I've been writing for the Fulcrum, and honestly, I fell absolutely in love with it. As news writer, I get a lot of the breaking news beats that happen on campus. I work closely with the student union, a lot of honestly different unions that help make our campus work. Other than that, I'm in my third year of poli-sci and communications. Never thought I'd end up in journalism, but hey, now it's what I'm really hoping to do.
Uh, we'll go right into the questions. So the first topic that we have here today is the Bill C-18. Um,
Mm.
and to give a bit of context for our audience, the Bill C-18 is basically the Online News Act, which was introduced in the 44th Canadian Parliament, passed by the Senate on June 15, 2023. The law, which was enacted in 2023, requires digital platforms like Facebook and Instagram to compensate news organizations for sharing their content on these platforms. Um, the law aims to level the playing field for Canadian media outlets by forcing large tech companies to negotiate and pay publishers for using their stories. And in response, Meta decided to block Canadian users from sharing and viewing news content on these platforms in an effort to avoid complying with the law. So I want to know how the Fulcrum was able to tackle this.
Yeah, of course. So, honestly, we're working on a hope and a prayer. Um, like a lot of other student newspapers, the Fulcrum, we did have our whole Instagram get wiped out. We had multi-thousand followers, which was really great because that way you put on your story and a lot of people from different demographics of your university will see it. This year, actually, we decided to completely rebuild our Instagram. And now I believe we're sitting at around six or 700, which we are really proud to say we are. That is huge growth, especially considering getting the diverse amount of students involved in student news is hard to do. But other than that, we are putting all of our energy into that because we don't do press publications. Everything is digital and everything's online at the Fulcrum. So we put in a lot of work in our graphics, making them like catch your eye, making students want to click on them, making them easy and attractive to repost on your stories. So each team member, it's like even if it's not your story, go hype up your coworkers, have your friends be like, "Oh, hey, that impacts you. Go share it." Uh, and I truly think that that's been a great way to just get engagement. Like anything, we always risk waking up tomorrow and having our Instagram account slashed. So we also do have a YouTube channel that actually we live streamed our student elections, and that had so much engagement that we were shocked. And so we're still like getting some viewership from that for our long format videos. And then same thing with just making our website more accessible. We took away those pop-up ads because every 2 seconds you had one that really wasn't for students, that didn't matter at all. And it made a very busy, hard to look through site. So instead, now we're partnering with different businesses on campus to get sponsors and to rent out specific ad spaces.
I want to know a bit about like what strategies do you use to engage a broader student audience and increase readership?
This, I'm not speaking on behalf of the paper. This is my own method.
Yeah.
Um, so for me at least, I have taken upon myself this year to take no regret into sliding into DMs. You follow everyone you see, you put it in your bio that you're like the news writer, you just go and you go like, hey, check this out, man. Or those little notes you have on Instagram. If someone says something interesting that has to do with the university, go, hey, I see that you're talking about this. You want to have a conversation about it? That just gets more visibility on the paper itself. Not to mention, there is always a demographic of students that is more involved on campus and what's happening, like the buzz. So in our case, that tends to be the union, very involved students. So it's like, okay, I will go, I will introduce myself. I will show them I'm human. That way it stays a professional relationship. They know my job, but it's also one where they would want to help me out later. If they have something that they think is newsworthy, they can bring it to me. Or they oftentimes repost our stories. And when you go for that bigger fish, that's when it affects all students.
And how do you ensure the newspaper maintains a balance between being informative and engaging for students?
We have a lot of different sections that we have contributors help out for. One of the ones that like another editor that she does a great job is Basant in our business science and tech section. And she does great to actually get into the business school and be like, hey guys, you're a student club, let's talk about it. Um, like anything, then we have specific amounts of, okay, guys, we still want to keep like the news and news. So, um, like the editor and I always have like a quota of stories to put out. And when we don't always meet that, our editors in chief really step up to fill in the gaps. And I'm grateful for that. And other than that, our section, the most popular one is definitely sports and arts. Sports, we have a great team going who have really good relationships, I think, from my perspective, with athletes and coaches. So getting good, engaging interviews that people want to stay up to date with is great. It's easy for them. And also a complete other sports account. So you don't, so the kids who just want to know what's happening with GG Sports can go there.
And can you describe a recent story that had a significant impact on the campus community?
Oh, yeah. That was probably the collective bargaining between our full-time professors and university administration finally reached an agreement. It expired last year, and since then they've been in negotiation. So it was a continuing story. I actually got to cover it. Feel free to go check it out. Go boost my readership, please. We do monitor that. Um, but so it happened like back in October. The profs were like starting to do protests and raise awareness. Then November came around and they threatened to go on strike. January came around, the strike vote passed, and they set a date being like, okay, February, either we reached agreement or we don't, and we'll see what happens. And just right before the Nash conference, actually, so mid-February, they finally reached an agreement between the two, where profs would not be going on strike. And that's huge because the date that they were planning on would be right after midterms. And because it affects full-time professors, librarians, and I believe TAs, no midterms would be marked. So it's past like the date where you can drop the class without any penalty, but also it's going to take a while for you to find out if you can even have success in the class.
And you talked about Nash 87. To give a bit of context about that, it's the largest Canadian student journalism conference. And this year, the Silhouette hosted the conference, the McMaster University student newspaper. That's where we got to meet Isabel. Yeah.
It was an absolute pleasure, might I add.
So this is a question for you. How long have you been working with the Fulcrum?
Yeah, no, this is actually my first year. Um, I'm very, I'm very happy to say that. But it's not going to be my last. I have plans on taking over. I have plans on taking it a step further. Um, Sadly, one of my EICs, Andrew, he's leaving this year, and he did fantastic work. That man put his whole heart into the paper. and just seeing how impactful his change was on bringing us to what I think is a respectable student paper in regards to journalism makes me want to do that and see how far I can take it.
Would you also like to share a bit about your experience on working with the Fulcrum so far?
Yeah, okay. It's a very fun workplace. It's a very fun. We have a staff of around 15 people, um, and we always encourage each other to branch out and try something new. So a lot of times that means like someone who doesn't go on broadcast, like me, filling in on news desk. And it just really helps us find our interests, find our niches in journalism, but then also expand a bit and have skills I can transfer.
That's all the questions I had. I want to end by saying like congratulations on winning. Congratulations to you and the whole team of the Fulcrum on winning the Student Publication of the Year award at Nash 87 this year. So yeah,
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. You have me nervous. I'm usually on like the sitting and asking the questions side. I'm a bit nervous about this. But the Manitoban, you guys are a paper that I want to steal a lot of ideas from. I would definitely love to collaborate further. You guys are fantastic, and I really respect y'all.